Okay, this is it's gonna be a tricky one. I don't really know where to start. I guess growing up, I was kind of part of a family, like a lot of people, that kind of just, I guess mental health just wasn't on the radar. Like, it wasn't really something that was ever brought up growing up, and it wasn't something you saw in everyday media like it is today. There was no focus on it whatsoever. And I guess you just kind of get brought up, especially with an older generation like my family, whereby you do just kind of think, oh, is it really that bad? Just grin and get on with it, you know. Sometimes you just need to pull your socks up and get to it, get to work. Everything's fine. Everyone, like, generation behind us is the old snowflake generation that anything makes them melt. And you say a bit of hard work and that opposite person says, I've got anxiety, or I feel stressed out. And that was how I was brought up. Stress was dying in the Second World War. Stress was, trying to save your country. It wasn't that you struggled to handle your 9 till 5. And so I've been really, really lucky. I've never felt what I would say was anxiety, or what I thought was anxiety or stress or anything like that. And I feel terrible now, but I've always not looked down, but I have slightly judged people who have been very open about theirs. Some people have been like, wow, good on you, you've been open about it, you've had really traumatizing, traumatic times. But other people, I would just be like, come on, get on with it. Like, you don't need time off your work, you're just being a bit dramatic. And that's always how I've kind of seen it until the last couple of months. I'm pregnant, so I'm hormonal anyway. And I guess that's what we do with pregnant women. That's what we make them believe. Hey, everything is just hormones. And part of it is, it is hormones. But like a few months ago, I kind of found that my heart was racing really, really, really quickly. Like, I could actually feel it. And this is going to sound really, really dramatic, but I'd never had the feeling before, and I actually thought that I was having a heart attack, or what I presumed was maybe a heart attack. So I looked it up because, well, that's what you do, hey? Go to Dr. Google. And I put in how I was feeling, like, because I was a bit like, I can feel my heart, like, actually physically beating. Like, I can feel his pulsation and tightness, but yet if it's a heart attack, should I not be on the floor, and I don't have tingling down like my body side or anything. So I looked it up, and it said it was probably most commonly going to be like heart palpitations. And I was like, okay, I've never experienced anything like that. It's not a nice experience, but I was like, fair enough, they're harmless. And guess what? Pregnancy is a cause of heart palpitations, so 1 + 1 = 2. And then, that was fine, and I was having them, and that was it. And then around about the same time, I was starting to have some difficulties at my job, and I didn't think that 1 + 1 = 2 for that equation. It was just my pregnancy. And I don't know if it was the heart palpitations that led to that slight apprehension, or if the apprehension came along as like another symptom. But a few days later, I started to find that I was just the night before work, I was just feeling a little bit apprehensive. I presumed it was apprehension. I just felt like I didn't have sheer dread for my work the next day, But I could just, again, feel my heart pounding, and my pulse was really high. My pulse would be sitting really, really high when I would think about work the next day. And, I just, again, I put it down to, midweek, next day, got work. Oh, maybe, in the long term, I should start thinking about a new job. I don't really hate my job. I'm getting on fine with it. But, there's some stuff going on that I'm not liking. And, I've never really had this what I would have presumed was apprehension a bit about it. So I just shoved it to the side, and I didn't think much of it. And then I got COVID, so that wasn't great. I was off for I'd been ill, and then I got COVID, so I was off, and I came back for like 3 days, and then I had a holiday anyway. And in those 3 days, my work situation had kind of escalated. And I remember turning around to my husband and being like, I don't like this situation, and feeling really out of my comfort zone with it and how to handle it. I didn't know the best way to handle it. And I could feel a drop in my stomach. Like I would be at work and I could feel like a churning in my stomach. And I would notice that like I was tense. Like I would stand up and I would physically ache and hurt. And it was because I was like locking my body while I was working. I didn't even know it was locked up, but I would literally be sitting for hours with a locked up body. But I still just was like, this is pregnancy probably related, or I'm just having a bit of a rough time. I'm just being dramatic. And that's it. Like, I'm just being dramatic. And I went away. I was on my holidays for 5 days, and I had an amazing time. We travelled about up to Oban, and we spent time with friends, and it was beautiful. And I came back, and it was just terrible. Like, I think my first day back, I cried, and that was it. That was when the crying started. The random bursts of tears for no reason. Like something silly, so silly would set me off, and it wouldn't even be like sad stuff, anything. Like I could listen to a news story while I was working, and it would set me off. And I just put it down to hormones. And all the while this is going on, my work situation is kind of escalating. Nothing really, really bad in the grand scheme of work or work life or anything. Just little things that were clearly impacting me, but that I wasn't even aware of how badly it was impacting me. And so just added to crying. And then it kind of all came to a head last week. And by last week, midweek, I was like, there is something seriously wrong. The dread set in. And do you know what's funny is that you always think the dread would be the first thing. Like whenever I'd heard about mental health issues in the past, or people in their work, or whenever you talk about a job that's unsatisfying and you need to move on, people talk about that dread where you're going to wake up, the dread to wake up every morning and go to your work. You dread the week, you live for the weekends, and then you dread that Monday morning slump. And it's so funny because to me, it's always seemed like that's how people started out. Everyone has that natural dread, and I thought I was really, really lucky because I've never had that ever until like a week ago. Like I've never had, like, there have been times when I've been going through a rough patch at my work where maybe I have been like, oh, I can't see tomorrow far enough away, but I've never had that stomach sinking, churning feeling of, oh my goodness, I hope I get a cold in the night because I don't want to go to my work tomorrow. I've never had that. I think for any job that I probably would have got that, like, I would have left, but I always thought that was a start, and I've always thought I was lucky that I never had that. But actually, I think it's almost a sign that it's too far gone, that you're too far gone with how badly and like broken mentally you are. Like, or well, for me anyway, it's not nice to say that anyone's broken. No one's broken, but like, it's funny how what I always associated with, right, you need to get out of your job when you start to feel like that. It's one of the first signs. Was actually one of my last signs. It was like the end of the tether. Like, I had thought, like, drinking water. Do you know when you're thirsty and you feel dehydrated? You're like, I feel thirsty. And at that stage, you're like, right, I should go and take a drink. And then doctors and that tell you, well, actually, when you feel thirsty, it's already a sign that your body's in dehydration. You should have had that drink half an hour before you felt like that. Well, this was what it's like. I thought that it would be one of the first signs, was me being like, oh, I'm dreading my work tomorrow. Right, that's a sign that maybe I should think about leaving. Whereas actually, by this point, I was too far gone. And that's crazy. And then, yeah, like, it all came to a bit of a head on a Friday afternoon, of course, and the weekend was terrible. And my husband turned around to me and said, you need a doctor's appointment. You need to speak to someone. So that's what I did. And like, I got the appointment on Monday with a mental health nurse, and literally, I kid you not, within 15 minutes of the conversation, and I started this conversation very open with the fact of, I think I'm struggling mentally, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't know. Because I've never felt this way, and I can't pinpoint it, and I'm embarrassed because I'm in my 30s and I really should have my shit together. And I don't know what to do. I'm hurting, and I can't explain why I'm hurting. Just something's not right. And literally, like, I hadn't even spoken for 10 minutes, and she was just like, this is normal. This is completely fine the way you're feeling. Like, I believe you. I believe you are completely justified in how you're feeling, and you shouldn't feel this way. No one should feel this way. And she was like, you need to start working on you now. And the relief is unbelievable. Like, they don't tell you about the relief. Everyone's like, talk, and oh, talking's good. But like, that relief, like, especially for someone who 3 months ago didn't really, like, wholehearted, hand on heart, could have said they even believed in mental health issues. Like, the 180 degree, like, flip, or the 360 flip, I can't even, it's unbelievable. Like, and how quickly, like, and she said, she was like, this isn't like it's something that's hit you in the past 2 weeks, you know, it's come to a head, but this has been something that has been building up for months. And it has been. And I have flippantly put it, like, I've used my pregnancy as the excuse. Oh, I'm pregnant. This is because I'm pregnant. That's because I'm pregnant. Blame the pregnancy for everything. I'm hormonal. Whereas other people would blame it on something else, you know, like, I'm just having a bad week. I'm having a bad month. Like, oh, I've just gotten out of a relationship. I'm just feeling a bit run down. No, like, it's not that. Why? In a society now where we're told to trust ourselves, our emotions, our gut feelings, why we wouldn't trust it is crazy. But like, that is the way that it is. And do you know what's funny is that it did take months. It took about 2 to 3 months to get from A to Z, but like it was also really quickly escalated. Like it really went quickly. Like I was fine. I was just going about my life. And then it was like I tripped up and I couldn't get back up. And I'm now I'm on what day 2 or day 3 after speaking to the mental health nurse. I'm taking some time from my work, which is quite a weird sensation. I haven't worked in years. I mean, I remember helping out at my uncle's shop when I was like 11 or 12 for pocket money on a Sunday afternoon, for 4 or 5 hours. And ever since then, I have worked in some capacity. Most of that has been full time. I think the longest, like even when I was traveling, I was working, and I think the longest I've been unemployed or not working is bar maternity is when I came back from traveling and I spent 2 or 3 months looking for a job. That's the longest. Apart from that, I've worked. I'm a worker. I've always worked. And it's funny too because they told me, right, we are going to give you this time, and a part of me felt such relief. Like I actually felt myself physically relax because I was like, I can breathe. I was like, I can breathe. I needed to breathe. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm this stigma. I'm one of those people that's going to be classed as on the sick, on long-term sick, which is horrible. And also as well, like it didn't just clear everything up. Like I say, I'm probably on day 3 now, day 2, day 3 post it, and I still keep bursting into tears randomly. I still can't stop thinking about my work. And while I have felt my body obviously relax, I still get a lot of churning in my stomach. And I think it's going to take a good week or 2 for that to calm down first. And it's funny because I never would have thought that. I never would have considered that at all. I just would have thought that would be it. Like, oh, great, I've got time. I've got exactly maybe what I needed or wanted, which is time. I still can't sleep. I slept slightly better last night, but yeah, because that was another thing was I wasn't sleeping, and I think I'm in a bit of shock. And again, my next comment was going to be, as dramatic as that sounds, it's not dramatic. It's how I'm feeling. And if my husband or my son or my friends were to come to me and say to me what I am saying, I would absolutely tell them that they are not dramatic, that they need some time to be kind to themselves, and that, do you know what, maybe they just need some time to heal, and work on themselves a bit. They just need to take a step back, breathe, and press the reset button, press the reset button. That is what I would tell anyone around me who felt like that, or felt the way I'm feeling. Like I would, and why I can't tell myself that is scary, and it's very sad, and it's not very nice. And again, I don't know if it's my upbringing, like I say, I'm part of that, I want to say generation. I don't know, I'm tolerable. I move with the times, but clearly, I don't have a respect for mental health that I thought I did, And it's only taken me going through this. Like I feel very humbled, and I do. I feel like I'm on the floor, back to square one, like rock bottom, which is ridiculous because the rest of my life, like my personal life, is amazing in the grand scheme. And this was what the mental health nurse said as well. She was like, in the grand scheme of everything, like, what is your work? And I was like, it's such a small part. Like, I work to live, sort of thing. I don't live to work. You know, a work is a part of, I enjoy work. I've always enjoyed work. I'm a worker, as I said before, but it's not me. It's not who I am. And certainly I wouldn't choose my work every day over my family, or, you know, I'm not chasing things. I'm not chasing work accomplishments. But yeah, no, I've completely lost my train of thought. You know, it doesn't define me. It doesn't define who I am. So everything outside of work is perfect. It's amazing. And actually, if it wasn't there, my life would be better for it. And she was like, exactly. And that's the main thing. And that's what you need to remember. She was like, the reason you're not aware of it now is because you're so in depth in that situation that you're not even aware of what's going on around you. And you need people around you now who are going to pluck you out of the situation and force you out of it until you get to a point mentally where you can start to heal and realize that you're in a toxic situation in that environment. And it's that she said to me things that my husband's been saying to me for years. But again, having someone completely outside of the situation who doesn't know me and who, in a situation where I needed validated me, makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to take her advice. She is the professional after all. And to top all that off, as she rightly pointed out as well, fundamentally, this isn't even about me. It's not, like, it is obviously about me and about sorting my head out, but I'm pregnant. I am cooking a little human inside me, and my little human needs me not to be stressed out. They don't need me to be questioning my emotions and my feelings. What they need me to do at this moment is to look after myself, to give them the best possible start in life. And for someone like I would say quite a fiercely protective mother. Motherhood has changed me. I love being a mum. It's like literally the best job on this planet. And if you had asked me that 5 or 6 years ago, I would have said I wouldn't even know if I was going to be a mum, you know. And it's not because I struggled with fertility or anything like that. Luckily, I've been very, very lucky, very privileged that when my husband and I decided that we wanted children, we got children very quickly. We became pregnant very quickly both times. But I was just worried that I wasn't really that maternal. Like, how would kids fit into my amazing lifestyle that I had? Well, actually, not only have they fitted in, but they've enhanced it and made it better. And to have someone turn around and be like, you need to remember to look after your baby, it's quite horrible and it makes you feel terrible, but they're right. They're right. And like, annoying and hurting some people to get that done. Actually, people that I'm not best friends with, like, these aren't like my friends' work colleagues or anything like that. They're just work colleagues. To ruffle a few of their feathers to make sure that I am as healthy as possible is okay. You know, they wouldn't mind ruffling mine. They haven't minded ruffling mine. So yeah, it's raw. It's really raw at the moment. And as I say, I think I'm in shock, which is crazy. But I generally think, like, I feel like I've been either on adrenaline or really wound up, and it's all stopped suddenly with taking a deep breath, and I've now like kind of crashed, and I've just like a terrible hangover. I now need to face the next day, you know, work on my hydration, my health, my mental health. And like I say, it's been a very, very humbling experience. And it just goes to show as well that even in a society whereby we are being more conscious of mental health and more open towards it, like, we're still very, very closed-minded. We really are. And this experience is going to live with me for the rest of my life. I pray that I never, ever have to go through it again. And I'm not a religious person, but I never want to feel the way I've been feeling ever again. Ever. And it's, yeah, I've had down times, but nothing like this. I've always been lucky. My body has always worked with me, and to have that feeling that your body is working against you and that you don't even recognize yourself in the mirror anymore is terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And yeah, I think we'll see how I go.